Shabbat Shalom, Miss Bakah. This is Maureen, my dad, Yahoo Ben Yashrael. Want to welcome you to another broadcast of Living Branch Hebrew Assembly. We want to say Shabbat Shalom to all of our Miss Bakah out there. Truly glad you were able to join us today. And to all of the household of Israel, or Yashrael, we say Shabbat Shalom. We trust that this has been a great Shabbat for you, and that most of all, you're making this Shabbat a delight, and that you're focusing on things that pertain to the Father and not doing your own thing. And this is one of the things we all have to grow into, where we're focusing on the things of the Father. It's so easy to get sidetracked doing your own thing, watching TV shows and doing things that have nothing on earth to do with Him. So easily, sports events, even some getting, notice that a lot of the activities for your kids are on Shabbats. So everything is to try to take away from the sanctity or from the Kodeshness that's supposed to be with the Shabbat. So, I just encourage you to look at your Shabbat schedule, plan out everything that doesn't involve Him, and only plan in things that involve Him. And trust me, you will reap the benefits. Get a chance, read Isaiah 58. So today we're going to continue our series on navigating through this life. And for those that have been giving feedback, Todah Rabah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's always good to know that the lessons are helping someone, because you can have a lesson that might not particularly focus on what you're going through right now, but it might apply later. So you put those in your treasure troves. So we definitely have a wonderful lesson today, and we're going to finish going through the example of Joseph. So just a few things. If you want to email me, my email address is info@living-branch.org, and we are reaching out globally. Our witness website is yahuwah.co, where we're restoring the Father's name and restoring the commandments in people's lives and giving them a witness. Our main website is living-branch.org, and our auxiliary website is hebrewfoundation.org. So let's pray, Miss Bakah. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Father, we thank you for another Shabbat. We ask you, Father, that this lesson would benefit someone out there that's trying to navigate through this life. And Father, they haven't totally put the pieces together to understand how this works. I'm asking you, Father, give them the wisdom to let this lesson be a spark that will ignite their walk in their love for you. I pray, Father, that you would just help them, be with them. In the name of Mashiach, help us all, Father, to draw closer, because we all could be a little closer, Father. Never close enough to you. We want to be even closer. Help us, Father. In the name of Mashiach, we thank you and say Todah. Hallel to Yahuwah. Amen. So, this is our theme or key verse that we've been using in the life of Joseph. But not only does it pertain to Joseph, you have to see all the other underlying changes that are taking place in his brothers and what's happening in the storyline. So Genesis of Bereshit, chapter 50, verse 19. And Joseph said unto them, Fear not, for am I in place of Elohim? But as for you, you thought evil against me, but Elohim meant it unto good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save much people alive. So we have to understand that evil comes our way. Elohim meant it unto good, to bring what to pass? To save people alive. So we have to see and use this as a model when things are happening to us. Because oftentimes we want to cast blame, or we'll speak evil of what we're going through, not realizing this could very well be the hand of Elohim, because he could change your situation in the snap of a finger. But the question is, why hasn't he changed it? What is he trying to accomplish in your life? Because many of us out there are frustrated, and we're pondering, instead of just walking this thing out and every step of the way saying, Father, continue to show me. Demonstrate your power. Show me in my life what you're trying to change. Instead of looking at what we're going through, complaining, murmuring, but see that even in your desert, that's the wilderness, your desert, that he's making provisions for you, and that he's providing for you. Looking on the bright side, looking at the positive things instead of focusing constantly on the negative. Because whatever you're focusing on, whatever you're thinking about, it's going to breed in your life. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you're thinking negative, guess what it's doing? It's breeding after its own kind. It's breeding more negative, more negative. But if you're thinking on a brighter side, if you understand that, weeping might endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning, that your joy is coming instead of focusing on the weeping, that it's going to start to breed hope. Because there's a process in Romans 5 that it talks about, and we've been over that so many times, about tribulation worketh patience, patience experience hope, and hope maketh not ashamed. So you have to understand the process. Some of our processes are longer than others because there are some deeper issues that have to be brought out of us, that we have to face, that we have to make sure that proper change has taken place. And then he pulls us out and changes our situation. Now, he's not going to change you. You have to change you. Yeah, he can give you all the tools necessary, but it's up to you to utilize them. Because remember, I'm thinking about the story of King Shaul or King Saul, when it said the Father gave him a new heart. He had the tools, but he failed to use those tools. And because he failed to use them, the old nature crept back in. Who he really was crept back in. When the Father gave him the tools of change, that new heart. So after the Father does what he does, now what you gonna do? All right, so enough of that. Let's get on into the lesson. This is what I want you to watch for today in today's lesson when we're reading. Watch for the character change in his brothers. Particularly, you're going to see Yehuda or Judah. Some of his character has changed from previously. understand or understood the importance of love. So when you'll see this exhibited in Joseph, because he could have held a grudge. Now, if you're holding a grudge out there, you're not operating in the spirit of forgiveness. And because Yahuwah chastens those that he loves. And we can't hold on to things. And people do this. They hold on to things when that's not what the Father is calling us to do. Joseph could have easily sabotaged his whole thing by holding on to what his brothers did to him. But he saw it in a whole different light. And this is what you have to do. Okay? Become a person of your word. Okay? Now you'll notice that you'll see that the brothers change. Now they become people of their word. They let their nay be nay and their yea be yea. Okay? And of course, remember Genesis 50:19. And I want you to keep this in mind. Remember, this is about changing your character to draw you closer. Because remember, the offering or the sacrifice couldn't have a spot blemish. It couldn't, be torn, couldn't have died of itself. It had to be a certain criteria. Because you're getting closer to him when you do offerings. So the change in your character, the change that he's trying to bring about in you, is so that you can get closer to him. You can't be your same old self and still have wicked ways, evil ways, and think that you're going to get close to him. It's not going to happen. So navigating this life is about change, taking out of you what's not like him. Look at his word. And if it's not like the word, it's got to go. So hating people, even if it's, yes, they did Joseph wrong. But there was a bigger hand in the picture. Elohim. That had a future vision of preserving life. So the people that have done you wrong in your past, you've got to forgive them and let them go, because you don't know what hand the Father allowed them to take so that you could be shaped and fashioned. So if you're holding grudges and hating them, you got to let it go, because you can't get to where the Father wants you holding those things. Okay? What you tried to hide is looking you right in your face. So now it comes back. There are things that are going to come back that you did. They're going to look you right in the face. How are you going to handle that? You're going to handle that in the spirit or the ruach of your new character. You're not going to revert back to the old way, whether it was lying, ignoring it, pretending it didn't happen, but you're going to handle it in a new character, a new spirit. And yeah, it did happen, but I'm new now. And this is how I don't handle things the way that I used to handle them. I handle them now according to scripture. All right, so let's go over. We're going to read Bereshit. We're going to read 44, 45, 46. So let's scoot on over there. Here we go. Okay, so I want you to pay close attention. because we're looking for life lessons and what changed in the brothers. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, and his corn money. And he did according to the words that Joseph had spoken. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their donkeys. And when they were gone out of the city and not yet far off, Joseph said unto his steward, up, follow after the men, and when thou dost overtake them, say unto them, wherefore have you rewarded evil for good? Is not this it in which my Adon drinketh, and whereby indeed he divineth? You have done evil in doing so. And he overtook them. He spake unto them these same words. And they said unto him, wherefore saith my Adon these words? Elohim forbid that thy servants should do according to this thing. Behold, the money which we found in our sack's mouth we brought again unto thee out of the land of Canaan. How then shall we steal out of thy Adon's house silver or gold? So they're telling him, look, before the money was put back in our sacks, and when we found out it was in there, we returned the money back to you. So how could we possibly want to steal? Now they go on, with whomsoever thy servant of thy servants it be found, both let him die, and we also will be thy Adon's bondsmen. And he said, now also let it be according unto your word. He with whom it is found shall be my servant, and you shall be blameless. Then they speedily took down every man his sack to the ground, opened every man his sack, and he searched, and began at the eldest, and left at the youngest. And the cup was found with Benjamin, in Benjamin's sack. Then they rent their clothes and laid every man his donkey, and returned to the city. Now I want you to pay real close attention to this part. And Yehuda and his brethren came to Joseph's house, for he was yet there. They fell before him on the ground, and Joseph said unto them, now notice what they did. They showing humility. Okay. Now let me just pause here for a minute. I think this is one of the things that we as Israel have forgotten. How to be humble. How to humble ourselves. And we always have to remember that Elohim giveth favor or grace to the humble, but he resisteth the proud. So there's a lot in humility. Maybe we need to go back and read some more scriptures on humility. Okay, and Joseph said unto them, what indeed is this that you have done? Won't you not that such a man as I can certainly divine? And Yehuda said, what shall we say unto my sovereign, or my Adon? What shall we say? Speak. How shall we clear ourselves? Elohim has found out the iniquity of thy servant. Listen to this. Behold, we are my Adon's servants, both we and he also with whom the cup is found. So now, keep in mind, they don't have a clear path of how the silver cup got there. But they're not trying to hide this. Remember, when it came to Joseph, when they were left him in the pit, and when they sold him and all these other things they did, what did they do? They went back to their father and they hid what happened to him, saying that a beast tore him. Now they're owning up to something that they really didn't have clear knowledge of, how the cup got in Benjamin's sack. But they're willing now to say, okay, this is our word. We said we would be your servants, so we're going to keep our word. Okay? And he said, Elohim forbid that I should do so. But the man in whose hand the cup is found, he shall be my servant. As for you, get up in peace unto your father. So, of course, Joseph wants to keep Benjamin because that's his brother. But what I want you really to see is how this is affecting how the brothers have changed, the character, and especially Yehuda. Now notice, then Yehuda came near unto him and said, O my sovereign, or Adon, let thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Adon's ear, and let not thy anger burn against thy servant, for thou art even as Pharaoh. My Adon asked his servant, saying, have you a father or a brother? And we said unto my Adon, or sovereign, we have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one, and his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother, and his father loveth him. And thou sayest unto thy servant, bring him down unto me, that I may set mine eyes upon him. And we said unto my sovereign, the lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die. And thou sayest unto thy servants, except your youngest brother come down with you, you shall see my face no more. And it came to pass, when we came unto thy servant, my father, we told him the words of my sovereign. And our father said, go again and buy us a little food. And we said, we cannot go down. If our youngest brother be with us, we will go down, for we may not see the man's face except our youngest brother be with us. And the servant, my father, said unto us, You know that my wife bare 2 sons. And the one went out from me and said, Surely he is torn in pieces, and I saw him not since. And if you take this one from me, and mischief befall him, you shall bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. Now listen to all this that Yehuda's saying. He's rehearsing this thing back. Now therefore, when I come to thy servant my father, and the lad be not with us, seeing that his life is bound up in the lad's life, it shall come to pass, when he seeth that the lad is not with us, that he will die. And thy servant shall bring down the gray hairs of thy servant our father with sorrow to the grave. For thy servant became surety or exchange for the lad unto my father, saying, If I bring him not unto thee, then I shall bear the blame to my father forever. Now this right here is a pivotal statement. Taking ownership. Taking responsibility. So Yehuda steps up. He could have just left the boy there and said, forget it. But he steps up and lets him know, hey, if I don't take him back, then I take the blame forever. This is what I have pledged to my father, that I will bring him back. This is a far cry from what happened when they sold Joseph. So you can see his character over time has changed. He takes responsibility. He had exhibited other areas where he wasn't responsible. Remember, he was supposed to give Tamar his son, but he didn't give her the youngest son when he came of age because he thought his youngest son was going to die like all his other sons. So he didn't, and she played the harlot. And then when he called her out to be burned and to judge her, and she said, well, whose ring is this? Whose signet is this? Whose staff is this? That he told her that you are more righteous than I. And she was free. So he's learned a lot. Now the question is, you going through stuff, but what are you learning? It makes no sense to go through things and not learn and come back and repeat the same old behaviors that you always repeat. You have to grow. You have to learn. You have to mature, come of age. So this is what you need to pull from this. You're going through things, but what are you learning? How are you maturing? How is your viewpoint on what you're going through changing? Or do you still have the same old viewpoint? So for me, it's a process. A process of learning what the Father is doing. Because once you see what he's doing, it's like, okay, Father, continue to show me, continue to cause me to learn so that I can understand what's going on in my life. And this is what we want to do. Learn, grow. So if you're still acting the same old way, you're still letting people push the same buttons and you get upset, you're not growing and learning. You've got to get beyond that. Okay, let's keep going. Now, therefore, if I pray thee, let thy servant abide instead of the lad, a bondsman to my sovereign. So now he's willing to give himself in exchange for his brother because of what he told his father. This behavior didn't happen before, but notice it's happening now. So there's a notable change in Yehuda. And keep in mind, you might wonder now when you start looking at things in Scripture, why you see Benjamin and Yehuda sticking together as tribes. This is a part of the story. He was willing to exchange himself for the freedom of his brother. Now he becomes his brother's keeper. Now he becomes a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. For how shall I go up to my father, and the lad be not with me? Lest peradventure I see the evil that shall come on my father. Wow. That is something else. The change. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you can start making small steps, because most of us have a good idea what we need to work on. Habits we need to break. Things we need to change in our life to be pleasing to the Father. Some of us have tempers. Oh yeah, they're out there. But we'll continue to talk about that. Now notice what happens. I want you to see Joseph's character as the character of Mashiach, because he loves his brothers. Okay, Bereshit chapter 45, or Genesis chapter 45. Then Joseph could not restrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, caused every man to go out from him. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brothers, his brethren. So he made himself known to his brothers first. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. And Joseph said unto his brethren, Come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. He said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery. Now, I want you to notice what he says. Now, therefore, be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither, for Elohim did send me before you to preserve life. Did you hear? He couldn't. Now, some of us, oh, Father, I'm going to teach these brothers a lesson. I'm going to show them I'm second in charge. I'm going to sock it to them. But look at his character. He understood why things happened the way they did. He could see it. You've got to see the hand of Elohim working in your life to shape and mold you. Because the things that happen to us are to shape and mold us. And some of us are a little more rigid, so we require a little more heat, so we will bend. I know you're saying, Maury, I've already bent. Yeah, I said the same thing too. Somebody gave me a word prophetically, and I'm saying, well, Father, I've yielded. But see, the Father's saying there's more that you have to yield. Even at this point, there's more I even have to yield. And I'm asking the Father to give me direction and give me what I need to yield more. And for you, he's trying to cause you to flex more, to bend more. It's a humbling process. Trust me, it is. And you'll begin to see as you open and allow him to do the things he needs to do in your life. When you stop fighting and you submit to what he's trying to accomplish. You'll see it. And you'll say, as I said, Father, you do all things well. It'll provoke a change in you. I can look back, I know I've changed since I initially came into this walk. And I look back, I know I've changed since our last Hebraic year. But guess what? I'm not finished yet. There's still more change that I have to do to get closer. And the day that you think that you arrived, you might want to ask yourself, has pride set in? Because if you look at the writings of Shaul said this, I count all things but loss that I might obtain the excellency of Mashiach. What are you willing to give to get closer of yourself? I have to ask myself that question all the time, and I'm just being real. Okay, let's keep going. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And Elohim sent me before you to preserve you in posterity in the earth, to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but Elohim. He has made me a father to Pharaoh. Look at that. And a dome to all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. So now, this is a clue for us. We can release some folks today. You ain't got to wait till tomorrow. You can release some folks today. Because some of the stuff that you've seen that they did to you, he allowed these things to happen because he's trying to get a certain character out of you. So the best thing you can do is release them today. Forgive them. So he understood So he didn't hold it against his brothers because now he understood the bigger picture. He had the dreams, but he was young then. But now that he's been through all of this, he understands now why the Father allowed it to happen the way it happened. Haste you and go up to my father and say unto him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, Elohim has made me Edom a sovereign of all Egypt of Mitzrayim. Come down unto me, tarry not, and thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast. There I will nourish thee, for yet there is 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast come to poverty. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And you shall tell my father of all my esteem in Mitzrayim, and of all that you have seen. You shall haste and bring down my father hither. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them, and after that his brethren talked with him. And the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brethren had come, and it pleased Pharaoh well and his servants. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Say unto thy brethren, This do you, lay your beasts, go, get you unto the land of Canaan, and take your father and your households, and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Mitzrayim and Egypt, and you shall eat the fat of the land. Now thou art commanded, this do you, take you wagons out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Also regard not your stuff, for the good of the land of Egypt, or Mitzrayim, is yours. And the children of Israel did so. And Joseph gave them wagons according to the command of Pharaoh, and gave them provisions for the way. To all of them he gave each man changes of raiment. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of raiment. And to his father he sent after this matter 10 donkeys laden with good things of Egypt, 10 she-donkeys laden with corn and bread and meat for his father by the way. So he sent his brethren away, and they departed. And he said unto them, See that you all fall not out by the way. And they came, and they went up out of Egypt, and came into the land of Canaan, unto Jacob his father, their father, and told him, saying, Joseph is alive. He is governor, Mashal, over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Joseph's heart fainted, and Jacob's heart fainted, for he believed them not. And they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father revived. And Yashrael said, It is enough. Joseph my son is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die. Now, chapter 46. Now, we won't read all of 46, but because it's got some genealogy in there too. And we're trying to stick to our navigation. But I want to definitely read this first part. And Yashrael took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices unto Elohim of his father Yitzchak. And Elohim spoke unto Yashriel in visions of the night, and said, Yaakov, Yaakov. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am El, the Elohim of thy father. Fear not to go down to Mitzrayim, for I will there make of thee a great nation. I will go down with thee into Mitzrayim, and I will also surely bring thee up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon thy eyes. And Yaakov rose up from Beersheba, and his sons, and the sons of Yashriel carried Yaakov his father and their little ones and their wives in wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. Now keep in mind, now here he has a vision. The father letting him know, go down, confirming. You know, sometimes we want to do things, and you know, he's doing this, but we need to definitely have the Father's stamp of approval when we're doing things. And he got that stamp. And they took their cattle, their goods, which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came to Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him. His sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed brought he with him into Mitzrayim. Okay, now it's going to go into the genealogy of, you know, who went down to Mitzrayim. So in your spare time, when you go back over, you know, read this lesson. Read this part. Or if you don't, you know, read, you can go and read it in the Torah portion. Okay, now notice who's stepping up again. So this one tells us, and the sons of Joseph, which were born unto him in Mitzrayim, were two. And all the souls of the house of Jacob, which came to Mitzrayim, were 70. And he sent Yehuda before him unto Joseph, to direct their face unto Goshen. And they came into the land of Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to meet Yashriel his father to Goshen, and presented himself unto him. And he fell on his neck and wept on his neck a good while. And Yashriel said unto Joseph, Now let me die, since I have seen thy face, because thou art yet alive. And Joseph said unto his brethren, unto his father's house, I will go up and show Pharaoh, and say unto him, My brethren and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come unto me. The men are shepherds, for their trade has been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you, you shall say, and say, What is your occupation? that you shall say, thy servants' trade has been about cattle from our youth even unto now, both we and also our fathers, that you may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians. So this whole process has been quite interesting. You can see all the change that's taking place. You can see that grudges are not there. You can see various ones stepping up in responsibility and in owning things now. Because a lot of times we like to blame other people for our situation instead of just owning it. I'm saying, okay, let me own this and I can get better. So this lesson for us is pivotal. Change. What are you changing? Now I'm going to give you something just to conclude for this lesson that you need to consider. Weightier matters. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you pay tithes of mint, anise, and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the Torah: judgment, mercy, faith. These ought you to have done, and not to left the others undone. So, judgment. How are we using the word of Elohim? Are we establishing things in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses? Or are we still using hearsay? So-and-so said this. So, mercy, faith. So it's just a thought. And what I want you to get from this whole lesson is just about changing, maturing. If you then be risen with Mashiach, set your affections on things above. So we got to start thinking kingdom. We got to start thinking according to Matthew 6:33, where seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto us. Priority systems got to change. What are we about? Where are we going? What's first? This is a sign of maturing. Being selfish, all about self, is not where it's at anymore. It's about the kingdom. It's about the Father. I must be about my Father's business. So I hope this is helping you to navigate. Send me emails if you have questions. I'm definitely will. I think I have maybe one email I have to return that I received late yesterday, and I'm just here to help. That's all I'm trying to do. Not trying to make you feel bad, not trying to belittle you. I'm not trying to judge your situation, but I'm trying to help you see why you are where you are and how to get to the next place. Because you can choose a long route or you can choose a shorter route. Now, let me tell you how it works today. Usually the shorter routes, you have to pay. The longer routes, they have what they call tolls now, where they've created shorter routes to get to this, distant places. In some places you want to go, you have to pay. There's no way around it. So if you want to get to certain levels in the Father, there are going to be sacrifices you're going to have to make. There might be times you want to watch a TV show, but it's time to pray. It's time to study. It's time to read. It's a sacrifice. What are you willing for navigation? You can take the long route, or you can, pay the tolls, get there faster. It's just an analogy. That's all it is. All right, and Miss McCall, I sure hope you enjoyed this lesson. Go back over it. I think this one has some definite nuggets there for all of us. I know it did for me. So if you haven't already, join our book market witnessing team. BM, the website is bm.hebrewfoundation.org. And if you would like to be a support to help us, continue to bring these messages, whether your donation is small, whether it's great, doesn't matter. If you want to be of help, we don't refuse small or great. You can mail it or you can send it by PayPal, which is donations. Our PayPal email address is donations@hebrewfoundation.org. Or you can use our online giving tool, which will take you here. You can give quick give, debit or credit card, or you can give by check. You can even schedule your giving. So, we operate solely on your kindness. So this broadcast goes all over the world. People from all over the world watch. And, and it's all possible because of you. So you've just been through the lesson, navigating through this life part 4. And I'll probably finish up next week the last 3 chapters, because there's some stuff in there even that we need to see once they come back. Because you can pass a test but still have some residue that needs to be gotten out. So that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to help as many as I can, because no matter how Hebrew you think you are, if you don't live this thing, then you haven't really crossed over. That's what makes you Hebrew. You've crossed over from death unto life. And that life is in the Torah, preserving the Torah and obeying the Torah. Your character. So you'll be just fine. Just continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to do those things which are right in His sight. So if you want to send me an email, you can send that email to info@living-branch.org. And we're ever so thankful for all of our those that view our programs. We put this up on YouTube because not everybody gets a chance to get it or will go back. So we put it on our YouTube channel to help those that might, navigate our way, see our channel. Now, before I go, I do want to do this. Let me see here if I can get it to come up. If you haven't already, join our website, livingbranch.org, and we have people from all across the world that have joined. You can post videos, links, articles. You can become friends with. That's one of the features that a lot of people see. I can look here. I can see who's online. You can become friends. These are all the different people. I'm friends with everybody. They have joined the website, and you can message them. And it's a good thing. Some have posted pictures, some haven't. That's up to the person. There are articles to read. They some good stuff here. And what makes it better is more participation that we have. So right here, I do a shout out. Say Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah. And that's just a shout out to everyone that's on the site. So we'll be posting more stuff here. I'll probably be putting up the prayer warrior stuff because that's some of my older stuff that's on YouTube that a lot of people probably haven't seen yet. So this is just a good place for those that watch our broadcast to come and sign up and to interact. We even have a mobile app. So it's a real good site, I think. I think it was a good change for us. So I pray that you have a great Shabbat fellowship with those around you, or fellowship on the website. But whatever you do, let's make this Shabbat a delight. So until next week.